Okay, so basically, I've heard of React. Some people say React is a language on its own. Some people say it's a framework. Some people say it's a library. But React is a JavaScript library, not a framework. It's a JavaScript library. It is built on top of JavaScript. So me personally, I believe that the major reason, like the the major reason of React is actually to bring HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to be controlled in the same, should I say, file by the use of JSX. That's one thing I believe basically, because with React, the major advantage of React. Let me start with the advantages. Is that number one, you don't have to be like the routing system of React is very swift. It enables you to edit your HTML directly in the same folder with your JavaScript code, basically. So before we go into React, it's something that I need to like deeply explain, which I don't know if it was covered in your JavaScript class. Like I can't tell if it was covered. I can't say if it was covered. But it's something that I really need to like go deep into. And I don't know how many of us know about ternary operators. I don't know if you have heard about ternary operators before. Can you please just highlight or raise your hand or say something? This- Okay, I guess nobody have heard of ternary operators. So ternary operators is a kind of a conditioning statement. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Can everybody see my screen? I need you guys to talk to me or to communicate to, so I can carry everybody along. I need communication. Nobody's saying anything. Can you see my screen? Even if it's message, just let me know that somebody's listening. All right. All right. Now, basically, now when I talk about ternary
Yes,
operators,
yes.
my all right. When I'm talking about ternary operators, I like using Notepad a lot. Basically, why I use it is for simplicity outside the coding environment. But Victoria cannot see my screen. Uh, I need to carry everybody along because this React class is just twice, and I need to explain as much as I can. I can't Victoria see my screen. Am I the only one that cannot hear you? Can you? Sorry for the delay. My network is crazy. Can you see my screen now? Yes or no? Yes or no? Thumbs up for yes. Thumbs up for yes. Somebody. Let's start. Let's start. Thumbs up for yes. Anybody? All right. All right. So now when I talk about ternary operators, when I talk about ternary operators, it's a kind of conditional rendering. Like if I have a situation whereby I want to say if um if bootcamp is equals to true, let this be bootcamp and let this not be bootcamp. Or for example, if light is equals to true, let the fridge be on or let the fridge be off. It's more like doing if statements, but we're not making use of if, because in React you cannot include an if statement in your JSX. So now basically the first thing, what is JSX? That's the first question, right? What is JSX? JSX is our HTML inside React. That's the plainest and simplest way I can explain it to you. All our div, p tag, h1 tag, and the rest is our JSX. Like that's purely our JSX. You see this? Let me reduce this so I can see some pattern. Alright. You see this div we're seeing here? This is our JSX. This is this is where our JSX starts, and this is where it ends. So this is what we call JSX. So within this JSX, I can put any HTML tag I know, basically any HTML tag at all. So when you hear JSX in React, it simply means the part of your React code which contains your HTML. That's basically it. The part of your React code which contains your HTML. I cannot put HTML outside here. I can't do that. That's that's going to be straight error. It's not even going to, you're not seeing the error here. But once I load my React app, once I do my um npm start basically, you see error everywhere. You can't write a JSX outside your return unless you are rendering a condition. For example, now if I'm mapping through a data, I can include my JSX outside my return statement. But we'll definitely get to that. So the JSX is basically someone wants to join. This is basically where, so whenever you hear about JSX, it's a part of your React app that contains your HTML. That contains your HTML. So I know I've not showed you guys how to create a React app, what to do before you start writing a React app. I just want to explain these basics first. So I need you to understand this. So now I've explained JSX. The next thing I want to explain that is very important to React is components. Now in React, there are two major types of components. We have the functional component and we have the class component. Now, earlier when React was created, it had a lot to do with class components. If you go to probably YouTube or Udemy now, you want to take up some React courses. What you find out now is that Most of them, especially React courses that, let's say, from 4 years below, 4 years ago, 4 years ago and above, that's 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, basically. Most of those React courses, they taught React in class components. It's not that functional component did not exist, but there were issues with controlling states. That's controlling the condition of a variable in functional components. So most of the tutorials were under class components. So now I'm going to show you an example of a functional component and an example of a class component. So let me create in my source folder. Let me just create a new file. Let me call it bootcamp.jsx. Now inside here, I have an extension called ESLint. It's for short code. So if I do RAFC, what I'm seeing here now is a functional component. This is a functional component. This is how a functional component looks like. Another type of functional component is this. This is another type of functional component, basically. Then a class component, I think it's RFC. Yeah, that's right. Give me a minute. That's functional component. How do you use class component? I think I've forgotten that. To, again, I think this is it. Let me write this plainly for you. This is how a functional component looks like. Class. Oh, forgotten that my ES means for class component. But basically, this is how most class components like. They have class at the beginning of it. Like there's a class symbol at the beginning. Unlike functional components is like when you're writing a function in React, but then you have a return statement that will contain your GSX. So in coding, what you don't use definitely leave you. So I'm mostly used to functional components. This is an example of a functional component, basically. And this is what I'll be using to teach you guys for most of the class. This is the best method in React. Trust me, it's not even about preference. This is the best method. Unless you are some kind of guru in using class in normal JavaScript. But most of the updates now, even in the recent React version 18, basically, they make use of functional components because it helps you control states better and some other things. So basically, that's another thing you should understand. Then another thing I want to explain now is data structuring. Data structuring. So in React, like now, I created this bootcamp.jsx folder in my source folder. This is very, 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 very wrong practice. Yes, you guys are still listening. This is very, very wrong practice because it's not right to just come to your source folder and create a file like that after editing it, sorry. So what you do is in your source folder, you categorize you structure your data in your source folder to two major parts. The first part I'm going to call it is the folder I'm creating. I'm going to call it components, and I'm going to create another folder and I'm going to call it pages basically. So now that brings us to what are components, what are pages basically, right? So what is a component page? So you don't um, mistake it with the earlier one I said about what's components. So what are components? So we don't mistake it with the earlier one basically. What are components and why do we have a component folder? So components are sets of data or sections or pages that we want to use more than once. So for example, now when we are building a portfolio website, you will notice that most of those websites they have a navigation bar that contains their logo, right? Instead of a situation whereby you be rewriting that code or copying and pasting that code in every page, in every page in your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In React, you can just create them as a component that you can use anywhere in your page. You create them as a component that you can use anywhere in your page. While your pages folder will contain the pages on your website. So if I have a home page, an about me page, a contact me page, I'm going to put it under my pages. This is a very good practice for data structuring in React. I'm just giving you basic like things to understand before I start. Basically, it's going to be quite an extensive class. So next thing I want to talk about now is what is a ternary operator, or let me just say ternary operators. Basically, so what are ternary operators? When I talk about ternary operators, the only thing I'm talking about is this question mark here. This question mark I'm highlighting. That is your ternary. That's your ternary operator. This question mark. In JavaScript now, they will tell you that they have different ternary operators. They have and they have two stroke, they have greater than, less than, all this conditional system. But in React, you can make use of if statement, but it's actually not going to work inside your JSX or your return statement. I'm going to show you an example now. So this is how I write a ternary operator. Let's say I create a variable. Let's say const food is equal to true, right? This is my variable. Const true, food is equals to true, right? And I want to give a condition that if food is equals to true, let my return, like if I'm using if statement now, I'll do if true, basically. I can do if true like this. I can do let's say const food equals to true. If I'm using my if statement, I can do if food is equal to true. If food is equal to true, uh, let's in JavaScript, let's probably have given, let me say return. Let me just say return, um, return. eat. Let us eat. Then I'm going to now create an else if true is not if food is not equals to true. I'll return I'll return tapa a. So basically now this is an if statement in JavaScript, right? This is an if statement in JavaScript. But when I talk about ternary operators, I can write it in one line. I can just say food question mark. This question mark now is asking whether the food is true or false. So the first condition now I'm about to write is for if it is true. So food question mark if it's true, I'll say let us eat. This double colon now means else. Sapadi. You see the whole of this thing I wrote here, the same thing with this thing here, basically. But this one is a ternary operator and this one is an if statement. So that's what I mean by ternary operator. So with this now, I can give condition inside my HTML, inside my JSX. Now let's try that straight up. So let's say um I want to in React when you declare your variables, it's inside your functional component, not outside. This outside is basically to import things from other pages. I'm going to teach you about the importing. But let's focus on line 4 down. This is my functional component. This is my functional component. So it's inside here that will create my condition. So I'm going to say const food equal to true. I'll give you the condition. So now inside my inside my return statement, inside my GSX, remember this is my GSX and this is where my GSX ends. Now inside my GSX, basically, if I do this if now that I did here, let's copy this. If I put it inside here now, you can see I'm getting error everywhere. Error. It does not work. It does not work inside our JSX. It's always return an error for you. But okay, I forgot to mention one thing. If you want to add a JavaScript code inside your React, make sure you open your curly brace. See this curly brace. Without this curly brace, I can't add the JavaScript code. So I put my curly brace and I'm still getting the error as you can see. So an if statement does not work inside our JSX. So before you put a JavaScript code, put your curly brace. If I take out this curly brace now and I just write food, you can see that it's not getting this value of food. Just taking food as an HTML content. But if I put this in a curly brace, you can see it's taking this. So this curly braces enables you to write a JavaScript code. It enables you to write a JavaScript code inside. It returns this statement. Like if I put this curly brace now, I'm going to be getting whatever I put as a condition or a variable outside my as a variable outside my JSX. So now if I take this ternary condition now that I did here and I put it here, basically, that's how I call it breaks. You can see that I'm not getting any error. So a ternary operator allows you to write JavaScript codes inside your GSS. But the way the work is now is, how do you structure your code for it to be a condition? How do I make this a condition? If I want a situation whereby if this is red, let it return this number, and if it is green, let it return this number, and if it is blue, let it return this number. That's in an if statement. You are doing if, then else, else if, then else if, then else if, then else. You can also do that in ternary operator, basically. I can actually do that in ternary operators basically. So let's say const drink is equals to true. So instead of this is my ternary operator, this question mark means it's asking whether it's true or not. Then if it is true, it will return this. If it is false, it will return this basically. So if I want a situation whereby I have an else if statement and I want to use it in my ternary operator, I can just do if food is equals to true, let's return this else. Uh, this else already means if it's false, right? So let's say else drink true. Let's give me let's us drink. Else if drink is false, let's say no drink. So I can keep going on and on and on and on and on and be giving different conditions basically. And all this is happening live inside my GSX. So now basically, how do we create a React app? How do we start a React application? With HTML, we can just open our VS Code, create the folder, open the folder, and boom, start creating our file and start coding. But in React, the best way to start in React, there are various ways to start or create a React app. You can copy and paste the React code from GitHub, from their GitHub. You can use npx. You can use fight. I don't know if you have heard of fight, but these are the three major methods I know to create React app. But the most popular is npx. So for me to create a React app, first thing I want to do now is install npx. So if I do first thing I did was npm -v. What's that for? To check npm package whether it's up to date. It's very very important that the npm package is up to date for the sake of so many things. So after we do that, the next thing I want to do now is check my npx. I'll check the version, right? So this is my version 10.1.0. So that means I have npx installed. If you don't have npx installed, what you just have to do is npm install npx, and this will run the code for you. Npm install npx. So to This is how you install um this is how you install your npx basically. So after you have installed npx, how you now create a React app is by doing npx create React app. Then you now write the name of your React app. If I want to call my React app, what should I call it? Portfolio. Once I click enter, I'll start creating a React app basically. But this is already a React app. I don't want to create a React app inside React app. So to create a React app, this is the code. So if you go to your VS Code now and you put this in, it's going to create a React app for you. So, so this is how you create a React app basically. So once that is done, the next thing you do, once you have created a React app, the next thing you do, the next thing you do is npm install. So what this npm install does for you is that once you create a React app, you are going to get a package log.json folder, right? Once you run your npm install, it's now going to install all the dependencies. Like this is all the dependencies now I have on my package.log.json. So it's going to install all the dependencies for your React app to run successfully. For your React app to run successfully. So after you have done the npm install, the next step is npm start. So npm start. So once you do npm start, what most likely will do for you. I'm having an error. Okay, okay. I tried to run my npm start now and it did not go because I'm having some missing dependencies. So I'll just do npm install. So it can help me install all my dependencies basically. And once that is done, installing my dependencies. Once that is done, I believe if I run npm start, it should go through clean. Alright, so that's how we like start a React app. Now let's start going to the main view. I really hope this doesn't give me error. So I start looking for what the cause of the error is. Ah, it's giving me error. Alright, that's fine. So that's that for ternary operators. Remember, it helps to give different conditions. You know, different so many conditions that we can use in our JSX app. I don't know why this folder is giving me error and it's restricting me a lot. So let me create a new React app so that will not disturb us. Uh, okay, so this is a new folder. Let's take it practically now. So after this, I'll go to my terminal. This is my terminal, right? Let me reduce this so that I can know what's up. So my terminal, the first thing I want to do is npx create React app. I'm doing this because I already have npm installed and npx installed. Without npx, you cannot do this. So I right click to paste. Then I want to call it portfolio. So once I enter, it's going to start loading. This takes a while. That's why I don't like installing it. As I didn't want to install it in the live session, it could actually take a while. And if you're having poor network, it will take a very long time. Sometimes, basically. So you can see creating a new React app called portfolio. You can see already. That's how you create a React app. Simple and straight like that. So as it is loading, let me take you guys through some other things that we need to learn about React. So another thing about React that is very very important is hooks. React hooks. So there are various types of React hooks. React hooks are, when you hear React hook, they are just things. They are just should I say, they are hooks. I don't, but they are basically hooks that enable you to do things faster in a React application. Like if I want to control a situation whereby I want a scenario whereby if I am loading this page, I want so things to be loading at the same time. Or if I'm clicking this button, I want this to be working at the same time. Or if I'm calling this API, I want data to be stored in this place, and so on and so forth. In JavaScript now, if you want to target a class, you have to do get elements by class, or get elements by ID, or get elements by tag name. Whichever way, that's how they target the HTML code in React. But that's how they target HTML code in JavaScript, sorry. But in React, we make use of hooks. So I can target various HTML by using um ref, by using state, by using effects, by using context. So many ways we can do it, and each of these serve for various reasons. Now React does not load when you go to a new page, when you adding your a link tag and the rest, when you click on it and it's taking you to a new page, you know that new page start loading all over and all over again. But React does not happen like that. You can actually control all this. Like you can control all of this basically with using React hooks. So there are various types of React hooks. We are going to see the use definitely. So we have use states, we have use text, we have use ref, we have use context, we have use navigate, we have use location, yeah, so on. And various dependencies will offer you various dependencies basically will offer you a lot of hooks, like so many amount of hooks. You don't want to know about it, like a lot, so many amount of hooks basically. That's how it works. Right. That's so the last basic thing I would like to cover about React, the last basic thing I would like to cover about React is props. Now I know most of us have heard about props. Props. I don't know how the name props came about, though, but we call it props. And you don't necessarily need to call it props when you are using it. But for basic knowledge, you can call it props. Now, props helps us to pass data from one page to another. Like it helps us transfer data from one page to another. So if in my home page now, I have my about me, just like a snippet of my about me. I'm so person, I'm from this and from that. I do this and I do that. And I have a second page called About Us. I have a second page called About Us. And in that About Us, I don't want to rewrite that thing that I wrote in the first page, which is that my About Me. I don't want to rewrite it. I can just use props to pass it down. I can just use props to pass it down, like from that higher level of from that first page, the second page. And I can even take it to any part of my website. But to do that now, I have to make use of use context. I know you guys are like, this is a lot of practical and theory. I just want to explain all this practical and theory for some reasons which we are going to encounter, because we have just two major class, and if I'm not able to do enough um, practical stuff in this class today, on Tuesday I'll definitely be building something full time with React. Probably maybe the homepage of blockchain on your website or any other thing. And I'm going to make use of almost all these things I'm mentioning right now. That's why I'm just trying to look into the basics and all of that. So props enables you to pass data from one page to another, from one page to another, from one page to another, from one page to another. You can even pass a data from like the grandparents to the parents to the child to the great grandchild, basically. Like you can take any data. So if I want to be passing my name to be showing on all over my page, I don't need to come to this page and say my name is this. Go to this page and say my name is this. With props, I can pass all this data down to those pages. So let's take a little look at W3 School documentation on React. Now, many of us, I don't know how many of us knows about ES6 function. ES6 function, basically. I don't know if you have heard about ES6. This is how ES6 function looks like. Um, this is an ES6 function. Const, let's say, next step. ES6 function, basically. Now, this part like this is what we call ES6 function. We also call it arrow function in some situations. I don't know if you are aware about arrow function. We also call it arrow function in some situations. It's like a modern mix of, it's like a modern, should I say, syntax in JavaScript, and that is what React is built on. ES6, almost everything, even our hooks, even all these hooks that I'm talking about, this use state, use effect, use ref, is built on ES6 function. So if you don't fully understand how ES6 function is, we have to like you have to learn it very well. But let me just go through that documentation for you. So this is ES6 function. Now all this plenty grammar. Yes, this is a class component. This is what I was looking for earlier. This is how a class component is. Makes use of this to target a condition. Right now in the other one, I use ternary operator to just target from where I put it. For a class component, we have to be doing this dot set state, this dot state, this and this and this and this. This is just full everywhere. But if you are good with class components in JavaScript, you'll be able to understand it very well. Like now, God knows when my three schools updated their React tutorials. But like I said, 4 years ago and above, most likely most tutorials you see is talking about class components, species of constructors, classes, this statement basically. Now this is a full class component basically. Now this inheritance talking about props. This is a props. This thing in the inside now is a props. Just like a condition. Sorry. Just like if I give a condition now inside my class components, like in this place, if I give a condition there, or if I pass an argument, sorry, I can pass an argument saying it's my argument. I'm destructuring it. This is destructuring my argument. If I pass an argument called name, this name alone, this name alone is props. So I want to mention one more thing. Destructuring. I don't know how many of us have heard of class destructuring or cost destructuring. And I don't know how many and I don't know how many of us know how to structure a class. So if I, for example, have a variable const equal to let's call it, sorry, I forgot to name my variable. Let's call it data. And inside my data I have so many information like name, my name is UNA, I have age 20, I have gender, I have gender male. So now this is an object. We all agree this is an object. Right? That contains a list of information. Right? If I do if I say const the structured data now, sorry, they don't use spaces. They are naming a variable. It's equal to, I put my curly braces and I put data. It means that I have structured this data. So what that means exactly is that I removed these curly braces away from this data, turning this data into a complete string. Use of a lot of Make use of the structuring a lot when we are passing props. Like what I did here now is the structuring. Why did I destructure it? Like I said earlier, if you also write a JavaScript code inside, if you want to write a JavaScript code inside your React application, you have to embrace it with a curly brace. Like you have to put a curly brace around it. So putting this curly brace now that we're seeing around it now is giving it the kind of structure. So if I want to use this data, for example, now in another page, if I want to use this data, for example, now another page, I have to destructure it when I'm passing it, basically. So that's what we do here. So when I destructure it now, I'm now actually going to get this my real statement back. So the structure is the act of removing an extra curly brace. Now, if I destructured this data now in this way, this destructured data is going to give me the destructured form of this data, which is going to return a string for me, right? But that will throw me an error because this comma and there's nothing enclosing all those strings. But if I had two curly braces like this now, once I do this structured data, It means that my destructured data now actually going to be, this is how my destructured data now will look like look like this. Basically, so data is equals to this, but the destructured data is equals to this. So this destructuring just help you take out one of these pool away. Just help you take it out away, take it out away, basically. So that's basically how you can structure a data. Let's look at array methods. But this array method is too advanced for this early stage. I hope nobody makes use of var anymore. Nobody should use var. The assignment I was saying, nobody should use var inside there basically. Let's look at, I don't want to go into this use state now. I don't want to go into this now. It's quite complex. Yes, I just remember now. Something I said I'll talk about. So now let's talk about how do we style in React. How do we style in React? So basically now, what I just did now is that I just created a functional component. Like if I copy this and paste it in my VS Code, if I have React app installed, it will definitely return the functional component for me. So now in this component now, right? Like I showed you guys that you're in data structuring, you have to create several folders, right? So there are three major ways of styling, just like in our HTML: inline styling, internal styling, and external styling. So let's start with inline styling. So if in my JSX, now this is my JSX, I have a div, right? I have a div, right? Um, I want to style it. I can come and do style equal to. Like I said, anytime you want to write any kind of um, condition or JavaScript code or anything at all inside your GSX, you must include that curly brace. Anything outside HTML entirely, you must include that curly brace basically. So if I want to style now, I can just do style then curly brace. But if I do this now and I say color red, it's going to return an error straight. Like it's going to return an error straight. So how do we do inline styling? We do inline styling by doubling our curly brace. This first curly brace is to show that okay, what I'm writing is outside my JSX, it's not related to my JSX. And this second curly brace is to hold all my data together as an object. In our normal CSS, you notice our normal CSS, when we're styling, I can do from styling, I can just do div, and I'll do like this. This is how we style, right? So if you are including this inside your inline, inside your GSX, definitely have to account for this query brace. Very important. That's why there's this second query brace. And this first query brace is to show that okay, this thing I'm about to write is not a string and it's completely it has nothing to do with my GSX. It's an outside um event basically. That's how we use style. So if I do this now and I do color, I use red, this is going to reflect. So that's how you style in that's how you style inline styling in React. Font size 14 pixel. In our normal CSS, I'll say font size. If I'm writing font size, I write it like this, right? But you notice the difference now is that I cannot put column, the column or hyphen. Yes, I think it's hyphen. I can't put an hyphen. I can't put an hyphen. Basically, it does not work like that because all these things here, they are more like declaring a variable. So the naming condition does not allow you to put hyphen. Instead, you take out that hyphen and you start the next word with a capital letter. That's how it works. Start the next word with a capital letter. The same thing like if I'm trying to which other let's say top. This is how I'll write it. I'll give it 5 pixels. So I'm doing padding top instead of padding top. This is wrong. Once you're doing inline styling, you have to do it like this. Padding top basically. So that's how you write your inline styling. This first column to account that you are putting an outside event inside your JSX. This second column basically you hold the data, just like data is being held in our normal HCSS file. So that's that about inline styling. Then now let's um, talk about internal styling. So with internal styling now, instead of putting my style inside my GSX, just like in our HTML, instead of putting our style inside our body tag, we put it I think below our title inside our head tag. So I can come here and call const and say const or let me say bootcamp styles. Bootcamp styles. I put equals to I put curly brace and I can start saying color. Sorry, I start saying color red. Um, width. Yeah, I forgot a comma. I can do width 100 pixel and so on and so forth. Then how do I now target this my style? All I have to do is just I put in only one curly brace and I write my discount styles. So basically, what it does is that this curly brace is to show that okay, I'm writing a variable in my GSX, and this other curly brace is going to expose my data. So instead of me putting this, if I take this, it still does the same thing. So that's how styling works, right? So that's how you do your internal styling, basically. Then for external styling, you're going to create a folder in your source directory. Probably you call it styles.css, and you just import, just like how you link your normal HTML. Just import styles.css. I know there's a lot of theory today, but it's because of next class is going to be purely practical. That's why I'm doing a lot of theory. So if you can remember the one you can remember, I'm not going to be explaining all these things again next class. So I'll just import my style, and in my style, in that style folder I created, I'll just write normal CSS, like the way we write CSS normally. That's just how it will be. So that's basically the three ways of styling. Now let me show you people a very interesting stuff about conditional rendering. So if for example now I say what condition should I say now? Let's see. Let me give a condition called country is equal to Nigeria. No, so let me do it this way. Because Nigeria is equals to true, right? Or it becomes Nigeria and is equals to true. I want to run this type. I'm putting it now. So if I want a situation whereby I want to give a color of green, but I only want that green to take effect if Nigerian is equals to true. How do I do it? I just write color. So instead of me just going straight to write green, if I do this like this, it means that anything inside my div will be green. So instead of me doing it like this, I'll do color, then put my color. The first thing I'll now do, because there's no need for me to put another ternary, another curly brace because I want to write JavaScript condition. The curly brace already is already giving me the JavaScript condition, basically. So what I'll just do is Nigeria question mark. So it's asking if Nigeria is true. So if Nigeria is true, I want my color to be green. Else, that's the double colon. Let it be red. This is a perfect way to use um, conditional rendering. Inside my div now, if I want to say my let me say I um I but I'm trying to give I'm trying to tell everybody my nationality. But instead of me coming to write I am Nigerian, I'll just do I'll open my curly brace because I'm about to write a a variable or a JavaScript condition inside. I'll now do Nigeria. If it is true, I'm now going to put I am Nigerian. I'm Nigerian. But if it is false, sorry, if it is false, I'll do I'll do not a Nigerian. So now the whole of this thing now, basically, just only going to do one thing. It's going to return Either I am Nigerian or I am not a Nigerian, which depends on whether this is true or false. So if this was false, the answer will be I am not a Nigerian. So I don't know if I understand this scenario of operators very well. So this stuff takes a while. So basically, I didn't even know it has completed since. So now the MPS creator app that I did now, this is it. It has installed. So like they see happy hacking. So the first thing I'll do, I did npm start and gave me an error. But the first thing I'm supposed to do now is change my directory. Because if I look at, I have a portfolio file. This is how, once you create the React app, this is how it looks like. Everything, right? So first thing I want to do now is change my directory to portfolio. After that, I'll do npm start. So this should start my npm package itself, basically. But when it opens, uh, yes, I already have something I'm running on 3000 because that's the basic code. So it is starting my environment. Definitely going to give me 3001. So those are the processes of creating a React app. Like I like it. NPS creates React app. If you have NPS installed, if you don't have NPS installed, make sure you do npm install NPS. So basically, starting my React application, Webpack started successfully, compiled successfully. So this is my React app. So this is what you get when you install a React app. So how do I clear? I want to clear all these things. You basically don't need it. Basically don't need it. So I want to clear it. So I'll just come to my app.js. So now, why do I go to app.js? Why do I go to app.js? Let me explain this to you now. If I go to my public which public folder, and I go to my index.html, right? This is where I'll like edit the title of my page. So for example, I can't change the title to scarf. This way you can edit title. I think I changed to scarf. Yes. See, I've edited the title. This is it. So basically, why do I come to React app? I mean, why closing? So basically, if I come to my index.js, I can see that my React street mode. This is a context. This is a context mode. It's unlocking my app.js. So everything that I want to see has to be in my app.js. I cannot come and start creating my own index.js file, index.html. You don't do that, basically. So this is it. Let React. Everything I see here is basically what is here. So all I just have to do is clear everything inside. Now they are making use of external styling. They are importing .app.css. So this is app.css. This dot slash is the directory, right? So my app.css now. This is all the styling. You should just write your normal CSS styling. So I want to clear all of this also. I don't need it. So let me quickly create a condition for you. Const Nigeria. So you can see what I'm talking about equals to true. So here I'm going to come and say my curly brace. Before that, I am a if Nigerian is true, then you should return Nigerian. Else, you should return not a Nigerian. So let's see. I am Nigerian, right? You can see the condition. But if I come to this place and I turn this to false, I am not a Nigerian. So that's how you give different conditions. So now I'm just going to do a quick something so we can round up into this class. I'm going to explain states, use states. So now to use that use state hook, what we do is import use states is a hook. So I'm going to import use create new one. Sorry about this error. So now I've imported use states. This is use states. And I just want to show you a very simple thing. So now let me create a button. Let me create a button and call it increase. I'll call this button increase. Now let me make use of this use state. I'm going to do const. Let's say count, comma, set count equals to use states one. I know there's a lot of new things, but you don't need to really understand what's going on. I just want you to see what's going on. Don't try to understand it. But this is how you use. Whenever you have use states, this is how you do it. You must give it two variables: the initial variables and the conditional variable. So if I do this now, right? Let me clean this out. Let me call this place count. So I should be getting one. You can see this one that is here. Let me put a break tag so they can differ. Let me add a break tag here. So now you can see that one and increase. So I want to do something. I want to create a function that would increase the one anytime I click on increase. So I'll just do we have 8 minutes left. I'll just do function. I'll call the function increase. Right? Give it a condition. Then I'll do set count. So I'm giving it a new count. Set count and I'm calling count plus plus. Function increase. Okay, sorry. Count plus one. Count plus one. And we're going to add on click. I'll call it increase. So it means that anytime I click on this button, my count now, this one that is here is assigned to the first condition. Then the second condition is assigned if you want to change the condition of this first one. Unlike in our normal HTML and JavaScript, you can just change a condition by doing get element by ID. When you React, you have to control it in a state. You have to give it a condition that you are changing it. basically. So this one is assigned to this first one. Then this second one is assigned to change the value of the first one. So once I go to this place now and I click on increase, it keeps going. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's how I keep doing. That's how I keep doing. That's how I keep doing. But if I take this set count out, let me comment it out, and I just come and create a function and I set count plus one. Count plus one, basically I'm going to return count plus one. If I come to my code, you can see that I'm increasing, but nothing is happening. I'm clicking on it, but nothing is happening. I'm clicking on it, but nothing is happening. Basically. So that's just a major highlight on how state is being used. So I think I'm going to stop here for today. I think I'm going to stop here for today, basically. I've already created a React app. So I'm just going to give you an assignment now, live and direct for those that are around. I'll drop a link later in the video that you submit it to. Create a React app, push it to GitHub, and send me the link showing that I've created the React app. I'm going to write it in the group and drop the link. I'm going to submit the assignment. I'm going to take stop here for today, basically. I know we did a lot of theory today, like a lot of theory today, basically. But from the next class, like I've already created a React app, I'm going to go direct straight into practical. So that will be all for today, guys.